When I confronted her, I expected denial, maybe tears, maybe a weak apology. Instead, she rolled her eyes and said, "It was one night. Stop acting like a victim." That's when I realized I wasn't in a relationship anymore. I was in a negotiation. So I didn't negotiate, I just said, "You're right, one night, one breakup," and started packing like I'd rehearsed it. Before we dive in, if you enjoy full Reddit-style relationship stories with cheating, manipulation, receipts, and consequences, hit like, subscribe to Reddit Story Vault, and tell me at the end whose side you're on, because this one turns ugly fast. I'm 31M, I'll call her Brooke. 29F, we'd been together a little over 3 years. Lived together for almost 2. We weren't perfect, but we were building a life that looked stable from the outside. Shared grocery list on the fridge, weekend routines, inside jokes, a maybe next year engagement conversation. That's what makes betrayal so brutal. It doesn't show up like a horror movie jump scare. It shows up like a normal Tuesday until it is. Brooke worked in marketing for a mid-sized company. I'm in IT, steady job, predictable hours. I'm not flashy, but I always showed up. When her job got stressful, I cooked. When she was overwhelmed, I drove. When her anxiety spiked, I stayed up and listened. I thought being reliable meant something. About 4 months ago, she started mentioning a new coworker more often. Evan. Same department, different team. The way she said his name was casual, but it kept appearing in stories that didn't need him in them. Evan said this. Evan thinks this client is a nightmare. Evan's hilarious, you would like him. At first, I didn't care. People make work friends. I'm not the jealous type, and I've always believed that trust is the default until it's broken. Then work friend became work husband, which is the kind of phrase people pretend is harmless, right up until it is. She'd come home laughing, tossing her phone on the couch, and I'd catch a message preview like, "Still thinking about you, Law." And when I'd look up, Brooke would already be grabbing her phone like it bit her. I finally said something one night while we were cleaning up after dinner. I tried to keep it light. "Hey, this Evan guy, he texts you a lot." Brooke didn't even turn around. "It's work, we're on the same project." "At 11:30 at night?" I asked. She sighed, one of those sighs designed to make you feel stupid for asking a reasonable question. "Babe, you're reading into it." "Okay," I said, "then show me." She froze just for a second. Then she laughed like I was being ridiculous. "What? No, that's weird." "Why is it weird?" I asked. "If it's just work, it shouldn't be weird." She turned to me with that look, the one that says, "You're about to ruin the vibe and it's your fault." "I'm not doing this," she said. "I'm not going to be controlled." Controlled. There it was, the magic word that flips the blame back onto you. I didn't push, not because I agreed, because I didn't want to fight over a coworker she swore meant nothing. But after that, her behavior changed in the way cheaters don't realize is obvious. Phone face down, bathroom phone trips. Sudden I'm exhausted while somehow having energy to text. And the biggest one, she started getting dressed nicer for boring days. Not date night nice, single and trying to impress nice. I told myself I was paranoid. I hate the version of myself that suspects. I hated that I even noticed. But your gut doesn't scream for attention for no reason. It whispers until you're forced to listen. Then came the first lie I could prove. She told me she had a team dinner on a Friday. She said it was mandatory, something about a client, leadership, networking. She got home around midnight, slightly tipsy, and kissed my cheek like nothing happened. I asked, "How was it?" "Exhausting," she said. "Same boring people, same boring conversation." I believed her. Until the next day, when her phone lit up while she was in the shower. I wasn't snooping. I was sitting on the couch scrolling. Her phone was charging on the coffee table and it buzzed, screen up. A notification from a rideshare app. "Thanks for riding with Evan." My chest did that slow drop, like an elevator cable snapped. I stared at it like I could unsee it if I blinked. When Brooke came out, towel on her hair, humming to herself, I held the phone up and said calmly, "Why did you take an Uber with Evan last night?" Her face did something fast, surprise, calculation, then annoyance. "Oh my God," she said, "that's what this is. We just split an Uber from the restaurant, it's cheaper." "Okay," I said, still calm. "Where was the restaurant?" She named a place. The problem, I knew that place. It closed at 10, and it wasn't in the direction of our apartment. I didn't say that yet, I just nodded, got it. Brooke leaned over, grabbed her phone and said, "This is why I don't like you looking at my stuff." "I wasn't looking," I said. "It popped up." She rolled her eyes and walked into the kitchen like I was the problem for noticing. That's when I realized something. Brooke wasn't afraid of losing me. She was annoyed that I had started paying attention. 2 weeks later, I got the second lie. She said she was going for drinks with coworkers again. I asked if I could come. Not to be controlling, just to be included. If it's all harmless, why not? Brooke's smile tightened. "It's not that kind of thing." "What kind of thing is it?" I asked. "A work thing," she said, like she was explaining to a child. "You'd be bored." I forced a laugh. "Try me." She got irritated. "Why are you making this a problem?" I said, "I'm not. I just want to meet the people you spend all this time with." She stared at me for a beat, then said, "Fine, another time." Another time never came. And I hate admitting this, but at that point I started doing what I never wanted to do. I started collecting reality. Not revenge, reality. Dates, times, inconsistencies. Because when someone is slowly rewriting your life, you either trust your memory or you get proof. Now here's where the one night happened. Brooke told me she was staying late at work for a product launch. She said she'd be home late and not to wait up. This wasn't unusual. Launch weeks can be chaotic. I texted back, "Okay, love you." She replied, "Love you too." At 1:12 a.m., I woke up because I heard the front door open. Soft footsteps. Keys placed carefully on the counter like she didn't want to wake me. I pretended I was asleep. She slipped into bed. She smelled like a hotel lobby, that mix of someone else's soap and recycled air. The next morning she acted normal, overly normal. Coffee, light conversation, a kiss goodbye. And then, she left her laptop open on the kitchen table while she went to shower. I wasn't trying to violate privacy, but her work email was open on the screen, and a message preview caught my eye because it had my name in it. I looked. It wasn't from work. It was from Evan. "Last night was insane. Don't worry, he'll never know." My hands went cold. My vision narrowed. That familiar, sick feeling, like your body already knows the truth and your brain is the last one to arrive. When Brooke came back, hair wet, wearing that casual confidence like she had everything under control, I didn't yell. I didn't slam anything. I said quietly, "Did you sleep with Evan?" Her face went blank for half a second. Then she tried the oldest move in the book. "What, no?" I tilted the laptop slightly toward her, then explained this. She stared at the screen, her jaw tightened, and instead of shame I saw anger. Not anger at herself. Anger at me for catching her. She snapped the laptop shut like closing it would close the conversation. "You went through my stuff," she said. "I read what was on the screen," I replied. "Did you sleep with him?" She exhaled sharply, like she was the one being inconvenienced. "Yes." Just yes, like she was admitting she forgot to take out the trash. The silence stretched between us, thick and heavy. I said, "How long?" She shook her head. "It doesn't matter." "It matters," I said. "How long?" She threw her hands up. "It happened once, one night, that's it." And then she said the sentence that ended our relationship instantly. "It was just one night. Stop acting like a victim." I stared at her. I actually checked my own body for a reaction, rage, sadness, disbelief, but it was like the switch flipped to off. "Okay," I said. She blinked. "Okay." "You're right," I said, voice steady. "It was just one night, and this is just one breakup." Her eyes widened. "What?" I stood up, walked into the bedroom, and pulled a suitcase out of the closet. Brooke followed me like she couldn't process it. "Wait, what are you doing?" she asked. "I'm packing," I said. She laughed once, short and sharp. "You're being dramatic." "No," I said, folding shirts. "I'm being final." She grabbed the doorframe, suddenly panicking. "You can't just leave." I didn't respond. I just kept folding. Brooke's voice rose. "People get through worse than this." Still folding. "Are you seriously throwing away 3 years over one mistake?" she said. I zipped a side pocket, put toiletries in. Then she switched tactics, as if she was flipping through a menu of manipulation. I was drunk. No response. He came onto me. No response. "You've been distant lately." No response. I didn't feel desired. No response. She followed me room to room as I moved through the apartment, grabbing only what was mine. Clothes, work laptop, chargers, my watch, a few personal items. She started crying, real tears now but still mixed with anger. It wasn't remorse, it was panic. Because she wasn't losing love, she was losing control. She stood in the kitchen while I unplugged my own coffee grinder, the one I bought before we moved in together, and she said, "This is so unfair." I finally looked at her and said, "Unfair was cheating and calling me a victim." She flinched like she'd forgotten she said it. Then she tried one more line, softer this time. "Can we just talk? I'll cut him off." I said, "You didn't cut him off before." Her voice shook. "I will now." I shook my head. "You're only offering that because I'm leaving." And that's when she said something that made my stomach twist. "I didn't think you'd actually go." There it is. She thought I'd stay. She thought I'd argue and bargain, and prove myself and compete. She thought she could do something cruel and still keep the relationship because I was stable. I carried my suitcase to the door. Brooke stepped in front of me, blocking the exit. "Please, don't do this." I gently shifted around her and opened the door. She followed me down the hallway. In the parking lot, I opened my trunk, started loading my bags, still not arguing, not because I was trying to be a hero. Because I knew if I started talking, she'd pull me back into the loop. And I was done being looped. Brooke stood next to my car crying and talking nonstop. "I hate you right now. I love you. I don't know what's wrong with me. You're abandoning me. You're so cold. Please, please, please." I got in the driver's seat. She leaned into the open window. "Say something." I looked at her, and the only thing I felt was clarity. "You already said everything," I told her. Then I drove away while she was still talking. I stayed with my brother for a few nights. I didn't tell anyone the details at first. I didn't post. I didn't rant. I just tried to sleep without feeling like my organs were vibrating. On day 2, Brooke started the flood. Texts, "Can we meet? I'm sorry. I'll do anything. You're really doing this. I can't believe you're acting like this." On day 3, she tried to rewrite history. She texted, "We were already basically over." That one made me laugh out loud. Because when people do something wrong, they suddenly decide the relationship was already dead, so they don't have to feel guilty for killing it. I replied with one line, "If we were basically over, you wouldn't be panicking." Then I blocked her. That should have been the end, but cheaters rarely accept consequences quietly. They don't just lose a relationship. They lose the version of themselves where they were the good person. So they start recruiting an audience. Mutual friends began messaging me. "Brooke says you left without talking. She says it was just a stupid mistake. She's taking it really hard. I ignored it. Then I got the first call from a number I didn't recognize. It was her friend, one of those friends who always sides with her no matter what. "Brooke told me what happened," she said. "You're being cruel." I breathed out slowly. "Did she tell you she called me a victim?" Silence. "Then she didn't mean that." I said she meant it enough to say it. Her friend tried a different angle. "You can't just abandon her over one night." I said it wasn't one night. It was one night plus the way she treated me after. And I hung up. That's when I realized the real poison wasn't just Evan. It was the entitlement Brooke had built up over time. The idea that she could hurt me and still keep access to me. Now here comes the mid-story hook, because this is where Brooke went from cheater to full-on damage control psycho. A week after I left, Brooke emailed me from her work account. Subject line, important. The email said, "I'm going to be honest. Evan is threatening to tell HR if I don't keep seeing him. I'm scared. I need you." I stared at it. Because the story had changed again. Now she was the victim. Now she needed a hero. I didn't respond. Later that night, a mutual friend texted me. "Dude, Brooke's telling people you were emotionally abusive and she cheated because she was scared of you." That was the moment my calm turned into focus. Because I can handle heartbreak, I can handle betrayal, I can handle someone being messy. I cannot handle someone trying to destroy my name to avoid looking bad. So I did something I'd never done before. I wrote a timeline. Dates she said she was at work dinners, the Uber notification, the late-night launch story, and yes, screenshots of the email from Evan. Don't worry, he'll never know. I wasn't going to blast her publicly, but I wasn't going to be quietly framed either. I sent the timeline to two people, my brother and one mutual friend I trust who had already asked me what really happened. Then I said, "I'm not trying to start drama, but if Brooke tells anyone I was abusive, this is what actually happened." Within 24 hours, the narrative shifted. Because liars can control the story only as long as you stay silent. Brooke called me from another number. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail furious. "How dare you tell people my business? You're humiliating me." Humiliating her. I didn't post. I didn't expose her on social media. I didn't tag her. I protected myself privately. But to her, even accountability feels like humiliation. 2 days later, Evan texted me. "Yes, Evan. Hey man, can we talk?" I stared at the message like it was a glitch in reality. He texted again. "Brooke is spiraling. She's making me out to be the villain." Oh, so now the coworker is worried about his reputation. I didn't respond. Then he dropped the line that made my skin crawl. "She told me you'd forgive her eventually." He actually believed he could sleep with my girlfriend, and she'd still keep me as a backup plan. And the worst part, he was right to believe it because that's what Brooke was trying to do. That night Brooke showed up at my brother's place. I wasn't expecting it. I opened the door and saw her standing there with swollen eyes, mascara streaks, and a look that said she'd rehearsed tears in the mirror. "Please," she said, "just talk to me." My brother stepped behind me quietly like security. I stayed calm. "You can't be here." She looked past me like she wanted to see if I had moved on already. "I'm not leaving until you listen." I said, "This is not a negotiation." She started crying harder. "Evan is a mistake. I hate him. I feel disgusting. I didn't mean to hurt you." I asked one question. "Then why did you call me a victim?" She stopped. Then she whispered, "Because you were making me feel guilty." There it is. She didn't regret cheating. She regretted feeling bad about cheating, and instead of owning it, she attacked me. I said, "You made choices. You don't get to punish me for reacting." Her expression changed, anger slipped through again. So what, you're perfect? No, I said, but I didn't cheat. She stepped forward like she was going to grab my arm. My brother cleared his throat and she froze. Brooke's voice dropped. If you walk away, you're proving you never really loved me. That was the last manipulation attempt. I said, if loving you means accepting betrayal and being called a victim, then you're right. I don't love you anymore. Her mouth opened, shocked. And then she said something that sealed my decision forever. So you're just going to leave me with the consequences? Yes. That's literally how consequences work. I closed the door gently. A month passed. Brooke kept trying. New numbers, emails, DMs through friends. Then the inevitable happened. She and Evan imploded at work. I found out from a friend who works in the same company. Word travels fast. Apparently Evan had a girlfriend, and Brooke didn't know. Or maybe she did and didn't care. Either way, the girlfriend found out and showed up at a company event. There was yelling. People recorded it. HR got involved. Brooke's just one night became the office's favorite story. And suddenly she was furious. At Evan, at the girlfriend, at HR, at the universe. But mostly, she was furious that I wasn't there to absorb it. Because that's what I was to her at the end, a shock absorber. 2 months after I left, I finally returned to the apartment to collect the last of my things. The lease was in my name. I'd already arranged the move out and transferred utilities. I'd left her enough time to figure out where she was going. Brooke met me there. She looked different, not sad, smaller, like someone who realized their choices cost more than they expected. She stood in the empty living room and said, "Is this really it?" I nodded, yes. She tried one last time. "I'm sorry, I'll never do it again." I said, "You already did it, and you already showed me who you are after." She whispered, "I didn't mean to become this person." I looked at her and said something I still believe. "You didn't become this person. You revealed this person." I took my last box and left. Now I'm in a new place, new routine, new peace. And the weird thing is, the pain didn't disappear overnight, but the anxiety did. That constant feeling of competing with a ghost from her workplace, gone. That sensation of being told you're insecure for noticing obvious disrespect, gone. And that's when I realized the relationship was costing me more than it was giving. So here are my questions for you. If your partner cheated one time, would you ever consider forgiveness? Is cheating worse, or is the way she dismissed it and called me a victim even worse? And if someone follows you room to room crying only when you start packing, do you think that's love or panic? Drop your take in the comments. And if you want more long, full Reddit-style stories with receipts, plot twists, and consequences, subscribe to Reddit Story Vault. Because we post every day and the next story is even crazier.